Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin and my micro lesson today is going to be about literature circles. So literature circles were actually one of my favorite things to do in elementary school as well as middle school and high school. So here's how literature circles work. So the teacher can either let the students choose from a variety of books, or the teacher can assign groups of students based on reading level to books, and literature circles can actually also be done with one single book with the entire class. So obviously the students are going to read their assigned text, and then the teacher will introduce everything about the literature circle. So the roles can vary from classroom to classroom and teacher to teacher, but for this presentation we're only going to be focusing on the next four. So the first role is the discussion director, and the discussion director writes and creates questions for the literature circle and leads the group in the discussion. So the literary luminary examines figurative language, parts of speech, and vivid description in the text. So the connector creates connections from the book through text to self, text to text, as well as text to world. And the last role we'll be focusing on is the checker, and this person checks for completion of assignments and roles, and this person also evaluates participation within the group and makes sure that all students are getting a chance to be heard in the discussion. So when students are finally assigned their roles, they meet with the other students with the same role, and a teacher would pass out pieces of paper with the responsibilities of that role, and the groups will go over their responsibilities that are listed on the handout together, just to make sure that everyone understands what they're doing and everyone can come prepared for the literature circle. So that night when they go home, the children will look back at their finished text and complete their role with passages that they find. Then, the next day, the class would come right back in to the room, sit in the circle assigned for their group, and get right to work. And the teacher it's not a teacher-led strategy, it's more of a student-led strategy, where the teacher will walk around and observe groups and really only gives warnings about time, or if he or she notices that one person's kind of overpowering the group and they've realized that the checker hasn't said anything. So after discussions end, the class comes together as a whole, and students can volunteer and share some of the interesting ideas that they heard, because it's really important that the students hear other ideas from other texts and not just their own, because we want to keep the students engaged and we want to get them interested. So if they hear something that interests them, who knows, they could go out and get that book and start reading it. So there are also some great benefits of holding literature circles in the classroom. So the first one is it teaches students to use each other as a resource. Now in today's society, it's very common to see that the teacher is the first resource that the student goes to. And it's important to teach our students that the teacher should be the last resource that we go to. So if they can find a friend that knows it, or if they can go back and look at other work. And then if they still can't figure it out, that's when they go to the teacher. So the second benefit is it allows students to make choices about their learning. Like I said previously, the teacher can have a variety of books that the students can choose from. And by allowing students to make that choice, it leads to a deeper engagement of that learning. So the third, and I think the most important, is literature circles are fun. I love them still today, and I still remember doing them in middle school and elementary school. And it's a lot different than the normal school day, because students are expected to talk a lot compared to mainly the teacher-led discussions on their normal day. And lastly, it's a powerful experience for reluctant and struggling readers, and circles can be differentiated. Like I said, a teacher can base these groups and do them strategically by reading levels, And because of this, the teacher can provide direct support to those groups in need. So because I said it's more of a student-led discussion, my role as a teacher would more to be to walk around the room and observe, and if I needed to, I could sit down with the group that needed my direct instruction, and I could help them by saying, well, what do you think of this connection, if the connector brought up a text-to-self connection. And I could also engage the students in saying, well, who else feels this way? What has been your experience with this? As well as by providing that direct instruction, that group of struggling readers doesn't feel lost or intimidated by the other groups around them. So as a teacher, you would really want to make those students feel comfortable in the fact that, and make them feel confident that they know that text and they can read that text, and you want to get some very engaging conversations out of it.